Welcome to the deep dive. Every day it feels like the headlines are just screaming about climate collapse, biodiversity loss, resource exhaustion. It's constant.
It really is.
And we hear this buzzword sustainability all the time. But, the uncomfortable truth is the planet isn't really asking us to sustain a system that's broken.
Yeah. No, it's asking for repair, for regeneration.
Exactly. Regeneration. And here's where it gets really personal, I think. The consumer goods economy, the stuff we buy, clothes, makeup, all that. It's like nature's biggest blind spot. It's kind of silently wiping out biodiversity through the very things we use to express who we are. It's a bit mind-blowing when you think about it.
And that is precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. Our mission really is to explore a totally new vision for commerce. People are calling it a regenerative economy.
Right.
Where fundamentally every single product you buy becomes a portal to verified ecological restoration. That's the goal.
A portal. I like that.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the work of Stuart Irvine. He's the founder, CEO of MerchUX and the ESquared Foundation. Really pioneering stuff at this intersection of commerce, conservation, and digital engagement.
Okay.
The aim here is to figure out how our everyday shopping, our transactions, can actually be turned into verified acts of, planetary stewardship. Real action.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because when we talk about the hidden biodiversity cost, the numbers are they're kind of staggering, aren't they?
They really are.
The textile industry is responsible for 35% of all microplastics in the ocean. 35%. From our clothes.
That's huge. And most people have no idea.
And then, over 92 million tons of fashion waste go to landfills every year. Someone calculated that's like a garbage truck full of clothes heading to the dump every second.
Every second. It's almost impossible to visualize.
It really paints a grim picture.
Absolutely. And then you look at, say, the global beauty industry.
Oh, yeah, the packaging.
Exactly. Over 120 billion units of packaging every year. Most of it not recyclable. Plus, think about the ingredients. More than a third of cosmetic ingredients come from biodiversity hotspots or sensitive ecosystems, and often with very little oversight.
Right.
But the real kicker, the sort of fundamental flaw here, is that these products, they almost never show their ecological footprint. You don't see what was lost to make them.
That invisibility, that's got to be a massive part of the problem, right?
Totally.
It feels like it fuels two crises at once. There's the obvious ecological one, but you mentioned an emotional one, too. What's that about?
Yeah, what's fascinating, I think, is how that invisibility feeds not just the environmental crisis, but this crisis of trust.
Right.
Consumers, people generally want to buy better. We hear that all the time.
Yeah, I think most people do.
But here's the catch. A 2023 Ipsos poll found 68% of consumers don't actually trust sustainability claims.
Wow, 68%. That's huge.
It is. It shows this deep, deep cynicism. So people are trying to do the right thing, but they just don't believe what companies are telling them.
Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap? Is it just more information or something deeper?
Exactly. It can't just be about more data dump, right? Because the trust isn't there.
Right.
The insight here seems to be that disclosure alone, just telling people stuff, it won't save the planet.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Consumers need some kind of guarantee, verification that's actually, like you said, baked into the product itself.
Yes.
And governments are starting to catch on, with things like the EU Green Claims Directive. Canada's got new greenwashing rules, digital product passports, DPP legislation.
Yeah, those are coming.
But those are mostly about disclosure still. Imagine if, every time you bought something, you didn't just hope it was okay, but you knew it was actively helping heal the planet.
That's the shift.
That's the huge paradigm shift ESquared seems to be aiming for.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got the scale of the problem, this consumer dilemma. It feels pretty overwhelming, honestly. How do we actually change the game? Is there a real path forward that gets us beyond just, doing less harm?
Well, this is where ESquared comes in. And they're proposing not just a fix or a campaign, but a whole new infrastructure.
Infrastructure, okay.
Yeah, an infrastructure for regenerative commerce. Think of it as this connected digital ecosystem. It basically transforms physical products, the things you hold, into traceable, interactive, and regenerative experiences. So every single item becomes a gateway to trusted info and crucially verified biodiversity action.
Okay, so what does that look like? For me, if I pick up a product in a shop, how does that work?
Right. So imagine a piece of clothing or maybe some skincare, it's got a dynamic QR code on it.
Okay.
And it's not just any QR code. It's compliant with global standards like
Yep.
GS1, that's the universal language for product IDs, and these new digital product passport or DPP standards.
All right, the DPP.
Yeah. So you scan it with your phone, and up pops this digital product passport. It tells you the origin, the materials, circularity data, like how to recycle it.
Okay, Paul.
And here's the revolutionary part. It's verified impact. Every verified purchase automatically funds the protection of a specific number of square meters of land or ocean.
Automatically.
Automatically. Backed by science, verified by third parties.
Yeah.
And then you, the consumer, you get what they call a regeneration receipt.
A regeneration receipt.
Yes, your digital certificate of impact.
Right.
And it's linked directly to a specific geotagged protected ecosystem. So this isn't some vague offset,
Right, not just planting a tree somewhere, maybe.
Exactly. This is what we're calling a proof-backed unit of nature. Think of it as your actual measurable, verifiable piece of protected biodiversity, something permanent you help secure.
That is. Yeah, that's a powerful idea. This unit of nature, the UON, let's dig into that. It sounds like the reward for the consumer.
Yeah, that's the core of the consumer side, yes.
So every time you scan an authenticated product, you fund the protection of specifically 1 square meter of high-value biodiversity habitat.
Exactly. 1 square meter. And that could be, precious old-growth forest or vital mangrove coastline, maybe a section of coral reef, or even community-managed land.
Yeah.
High-value ecosystems.
Okay, but how is this really different from, like, my supermarket loyalty points or getting a digital badge for something? That's a key question, isn't it?
It is a really important question because we're so used to those traditional rewards, right?
Yeah.
Points, badges. They feel a bit abstract sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Here, you don't just get points. You receive this living certificate of nature. It's issued in your name.
In my name.
In your name. It gets updated with impact data, showing the health of the ecosystem you help protect. And you can share it online, across your digital life.
Huh.
This radical transparency, the idea is, it creates a real emotional connection. You end up with this growing digital portfolio of protected nature.
Portfolio of nature?
Yeah. A kind of eco-wealth you can actually see, interact with, and feel genuinely proud of. They're saying the URN is the first reward system that turns your consumption into measurable, real-time planetary benefit. Your purchase becomes a direct act of protection.
That distinction feels really important because so many green things feel intangible, like carbon offsets way off somewhere.
Exactly.
So what makes these units of nature properly grounded in place? Why is that so crucial? And I guess, how do you stop it becoming just clever greenwashing? There's bound to be skepticism.
You've hit the absolute critical point there. And that's how they aim to tackle the greenwashing concern head on. Unlike those abstract credits, these UONs are tied to specific real-world places.
Okay.
ESquared focuses on direct partnerships with NGOs, with conservation groups, and this is key with First Nations stewards.
Ah, the stewards on the ground.
Yes. They work together to identify, designate, and then verify these specific tracts of land and ocean for long-term protection.
Yeah.
These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right.
They are actual legally protected ecosystems. They're monitored, they're managed, they're maintained by trusted custodians. And the brand sponsorship visibly supports that stewardship directly.
So the brands are co-funding actual ongoing work.
Precisely. Real nature protection. And this also opens doors for really deep collaboration with indigenous communities, local rangers, biodiversity scientists. Like in Canada, for instance, they're focusing on co-management frameworks with First Nations partners, especially for marine and forest ecosystems out on the Pacific coast.
Guided by indigenous knowledge.
Absolutely. Guided by indigenous knowledge, respecting land sovereignty principles, focusing on long-term capacity building. It's designed not to be just transactional donations. It's about real partnership sustained over time.
Okay, that grounding makes a difference. But this focus on the purchase is powerful, but what about, the rest of the product's life?
Yeah, the end-of-life problem.
Because, let's face it, that's where so much damage happens, right?
Yeah.
Most clothes, most beauty stuff, it just ends up in landfills. Or worse, illegal dump sites. We talked about the fashion industry. A garbage truck of clothes dumped every single second. So what happens after I buy the thing and get my UON?
Right, that's where the other side of the ESquared infrastructure kicks in. Smart, geolocated circularity.
Geolocated?
Yeah. So remember that digital ID, the digital product passport?
Uh-huh.
It also includes specific pathways for what to do next. Resale options, reuse ideas, or how to get it to certified disposal. and it's mapped to your location.
Oh, that's clever.
Think about it. Like, I remember trying to recycle some weird plastic thing once, staring at the tiny symbols, wondering where it actually goes.
Huh? Yeah, we've all been there.
This system aims to remove that guesswork. They're building a marketplace layer, too,
Okay.
where you, the consumer, can list items for resale or maybe verified trade-in. It can give you guidance on local certified recycling spots or repair stations.
And you get rewarded for that, too.
Yes. You can earn additional units of nature for participating in these circular behaviors.
Ah, so it closes the loop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It turns that whole post-purchase phase into a new stage of engagement, of accountability, and of impact. They call it the impact loop.
The impact loop. I like it.
Yeah, it's like this regenerative flywheel.
Yeah.
Your good actions keep generating more environmental benefit, kind of feeding back into the system.
Okay, so governing all of this whole new ecosystem. There's the ESquared Foundation being launched. That sounds like the central hub, the standards body for all this.
That's exactly right. The ESquared Foundation is set up as a nonprofit. It's the standards body and the alliance hub.
Okay.
Its main jobs will be certifying and issuing those regeneration receipts and the units of nature. Critically, auditing the claims from brands and partners to maintain credibility, the trust factor again.
Super important.
Absolutely. And building the global governance framework for this totally new kind of product impact economy. If you sort of connect it to the bigger picture, the foundation aims to bring everyone together.
Who's everyone?
Leading brands, environmental groups, tech innovators, and crucially, the stewards on the ground protecting nature, all working together in a shared value alliance.
Okay.
It's kind of loosely modeled after something called the Regen Brands Coalition in agriculture, but this one's focused specifically on biodiversity, consumer goods, and circularity.
Right. Tailored for this sector.
Exactly. And this is basically the first entity trying to standardize, verify, and scale this kind of biodiversity-linked impact across different product categories.
And it's actually being built. This isn't just a concept.
No, it's being built right now by an international team. They share this mission, make every consumer product part of a regenerative economy, transform the stuff people already buy and love into agents of impact.
So it's not about trying to, like, greenwash the current system.
No, the language they use is about replacing it, building something fundamentally different.
Wow. Okay. That's a really powerful idea, that the regenerative economy isn't just, another trend or buzzword. It's the next step, the next evolution of commerce.
Yeah.
The necessary architecture, maybe, for a world facing the challenges we see every day. A blueprint for how we consume, protect, and maybe even grow together.
Oh, maybe the takeaway is, let's stop just talking about doing less harm.
Right.
Let's actually build a system that heals.
Yeah.
And maybe leave you, the listener, with this thought. How could your next purchase actually be an act of protection, turning that everyday consumption into real, verifiable planetary stewardship?